Hi everyone, my name is Marianne. I'm one of the coaches here at Glute, and one of the most common questions I get asked about bridging exercises is what's the difference between the glute bridge and the hip thrust. The glute bridge is your starting exercise, so this is where everyone starts. So you're learning to master glute activation and just building up that level of strength and understanding of what the bridging is all about. So with body weight only, you're lying on the floor and feet are hip width apart. You're going to keep the knees out but bring the feet in to about half a foot away from your butt. You're not wanting to start with a big gap here between your lower back and the floor, so try to flatten it a little bit, or you can flatten it completely. So find a nice neutral position, and all you're doing is using the glutes to raise the hips up in the air and really squeezing the butt at the top, keeping the front of your body nice and flat. So this means that you're using your glutes, not your lower back, in order to compensate for that. So once your glutes are active, then you want to bring the strength up by doing more repetitions to start with. Once you can master about 3 sets of 12 of these, and when I say don't extend at the lower back, what that would look like is this at the top. It's slightly exaggerated, but your chest would be raised up. You'd see a bit of a raise here in the ribs, and you'd see a big arch here in the lower back, and you'd probably feel it here in the lower back as well, and the glutes would be fairly soft. So when you're raising up, keeping this nice and strong and flat at the front, then you can feel the glutes really working, and down. Once you've mastered that with body weight, then you're going to progress things by increasing the range of movement. So what we do then is we move on to the hip thrust. With the hip thrust, you're going to start again just with body weight to master the movement pattern, and this time you're going to elevate the shoulders against a bench or even a small step. But you can use your sofa at home as well. That's a good way to do this. You're going to rest your upper back just below your shoulder blades against the bench. Arms could go out if you want, or you can kind of keep them by your side. Just don't use your arms to actually lift yourself up, so keep them relaxed. Feet are in the same position this time. You're raising the hips up further. You're starting off at a more bent position here, so that means you're starting off at a greater stretch in the glutes. Requires more strength, more coordination, and it's going to raise you up until you're flat at the top. Keeping the knees from caving in, just keep them out at a slight angle. And notice how when I bring my hips down, I'm not splaying over the bench like this, keeping that hinge nice and strong. So your head and neck follow, and they're following back up. Nice straight hips here. Again, the same thing can happen. You can arch your lower back in order to feel like you're getting your hips higher. But if your glutes aren't working enough, then you're just not quite mastering the glute activation, so you need to go back and maybe do more glute bridges, other types of glute activation work. But for this video only, I just wanted to show you the difference and the reasons why both have their place. Over time, you'll learn to add weight to these exercises, and what we normally see is people will be able to add more load to the glute bridges because you're more stable, you're on the floor, you're nice and flat. And then when you're hinging like this, you'll be able to get greater range of movement, but you won't be able to use as much weight as you can with the glute bridge. So we often will use both types and different variations of these particular exercises to really master the glute strength, and obviously providing that shape and overall strength that comes with it.